Spring is in the air with its unpredictable weather, and that can only mean it's finally time for Milano Sanremo. La Primavera is the first monument of the season and the longest one-day professional race in the calendar. Welcome to the highlights show of the 109th Milano Sanremo. Starting in Milan city centre and ending in the beautiful seaside town of Sanremo after a ride of some 294 kilometres. After 130 comes the first climb of the day, then a flat run away from the Tocchino until the double punch finale. First the Cipressa with a kick of 9%, followed by the frantic climb of the Poggio with less than 10 kilometres to go. The decisive test for those hoping for a place in history. Among the men to watch for today's race were Peter Sagan and Michał Kwiatkowski, who put on a fantastic show last year.
Sagan the Great, Peter the Great, is he going to make it stick? Kwiatkowski tries to come around the outside, Kwiatkowski's there, they punch up, Kwiatkowski out running, oh, I cannot tell you at the line, that was incredible, it's Kwiatkowski who got him.
But a talent-packed field was intent on denying the two race favourites. 9 riders got away in the early move. Mirko Maestri and Lorenzo Rota, Evgeny Koberniak, Guy Sagiv, Dennis van Winden, Sho Hatsuyama, Charles Manet, Matteo Bono, Jacopo Mosca. But with the peloton not wishing to give them too much slack, and despite the rain, their advantage never grew to more than 7 minutes. The sun finally showed up as they headed eventually towards Sanremo. With the peloton being led by Bora among others, the breakaway began to disintegrate and they were all swept up before the Cipressa. The stage was set then for another chapter of this great race to be written. Now they hit the Cipressa and up they go, the first of the 2 climbs at the end of Milano Sanremo. What damage will it do to the race? At the end of this climb you might find that a few of the big name hopes for big teams are out of contention. How will Marcel Kittel thrive on this climb? Well, there's a Katusha Alpecin jersey right on the back as look like a move might be. Is that Vincenzo Nibali himself towards the front from Bahrain Merida? It is indeed Vincenzo Nibali looking round, looking like he is twitching. Waiting to see where the rest of his team are. Nathan Haas from Katusha Alpecin with the beard alongside Peter Sagan, who looks very comfortable. Christophe Laporte there too. Michael Matthews also in the frame, but it's all about Groupama FDJ. And, well, Kittel's in trouble once again at the back. Van Baal sets the pace. The Dutchman, newly signed to Team Sky. Powerful rider.
Just a little bit of water on the roads, just spraying the riders. They won't really want that, but not a lot they can do about it, unfortunately. There you can see the pace being set. It's not steep, but you know, at this stage, 6 hours and 50 minutes almost of riding. The legs are really, really going to be hurting at this point.
Damar's looking good though, isn't he? And his team have performed very well. Andre Greipel just accelerating to get on the wheel of the French national champion. Greipel still going very well and looking full of business. And the world champion just tucked in behind the German. So Damar, Greipel, Sagan all towards the front with Senko, Nathan Haas.
Well, you can see number 1 there. Kwiatkowski just moves ahead of Sagan. Oh, what a pinch point there. Hopefully everybody gets through that okay, but there was a little bit of a battle just before that.
And over the top they go. That's the Cipressa done and dusted. And now they will drop off the climb and they'll have about 10 kilometres from the foot of the Cipressa until they, from this point until they get to the foot of the Poggio with just over 9 kilometres to go. 6 kilometres until they start the Poggio, the defining climb of Milano Sanremo. Don't imagine that all these riders will still be there at the finish. Some will go, it's a question of which ones. At the moment, Arnaud Démare has done everything right with Groupama FDJ, and Andre Greipel, whose name has barely been mentioned when you talk about the big favourites, but there's every reason to suggest if his legs are there that Greipel will go very well on the Poggio. And if you take Greipel to a finish line, by and large, he is going to be right in the thick of it. Don't rule out the German from Lotto Soudal. 4 kilometres to go until they hit the Poggio now.
Magnus Cort Nielsen is there. number 25, centre of the shot for Astana.
Scott Thwaites is still there from Team Dimension Data as well. Daniele Benati from Movistar. 4 riders now from Mitchelton Scott.
I was wondering if the distance was going to be just a little bit much for Scott Thwaites.
Well, he's there at the moment. Cesare Benedetti on the front, the Italian climber from Bora Hansgrohe, working for the world champion. Peter Sagan now right towards the 4, in the thick of things. Greipel with Lotto Soudal on the right-hand side of the road. There's the tiny figure of Caleb Ewan tucked in behind him, of their train, I should say, and Bahrain Merida now charging up on the right-hand side of the road as the drag race is on once again. Just 3 kilometres to go towards the Poggio, and it's almost as if it's a finish line in its own right. Magnus Cort Nielsen, you rightly identified, with Luis Leon Sanchez and a strong Astana offering in the mix. The road kicks up a little bit here. 3 kilometres to go until they hit the Poggio. A little bit less. Still, Groupama FDJ determined to dictate things for the 2016 Milan Sanremo champion Arnaud Démare, the French national champion.
Mitchelton Scott, Bahrain Merida, Quick Step, Astana, Bora, Lotto Soudal, so many teams with players, big players.
Michael Matthews is still there as well from Sunweb, and Michał Kwiatkowski is not ideally placed, it must be said, right at the moment. I'm sure he's got the firepower, if he wants to, probably on his own, and he's certainly got the teammates to get back to the front, but you'd imagine, normally, you'd expect to see him a little bit closer to the front as they accelerate towards the Poggio.
Yeah, certainly playing it a little bit cooler than you would imagine is the defending champion from last year. Mitchelton Scott, well placed here, giving Caleb Ewan the best chance possible. BMC now all starting to move up on the right-hand side.
Fabio Zabatini is the most prominent rider from Quick Step Floors now, so Elia Viviani's essentially got his lead-out train there in Max Richese and Fabio Zabatini. Then comes Elia Viviani, so Quick Step Floors still there. Mark Cavendish moving towards the front now with Edvard Bosenhagen and Scott Thwaites, 3 Dimension Data riders still towards the front on the right-hand side of the road.
Yeah, Mark Cavendish giving himself a very good opportunity here. Not been talked up at all for obvious reasons with the start of his season, with a couple of crashes.
Oh, it's nervous stuff now. Everyone knows the importance of positioning on the Poggio turn, which is not far away now. 9.1k to go. That's where they turn onto the Poggio. Niels Pollitt trying to pilot Nathan Haas up the left-hand side of the road from Katusha Alpecin. Look at that, barging for position between Conor Valovas and Vincenzo Nibali, and it's Nibali who gets what he wants, and they move ever closer to the front now. It's Sonny Colbrelli being pushed into position now, the fast-finishing Italian from Bahrain Merida. But still, Groupama FDJ have strength in number, 3 men, and then Arnaud Démare still bossing affairs. Look at this for Nibali. Who's the boss here? Well, I think it's the 4-time Grand Tour winner, Vincenzo Nibali himself. No mug when it comes to Milan Sanremo, the Sprinters Classic, with a 3rd place to his palmares on this race.
And, well, the left-hand side. Oh, big crash! Big crash coming off the roundabout there.
Okay, and they're still going down. One rider from Team Dimension Data has continued to pick themselves up. Oliver Nason's being delayed. Yeah, not again.
I think it's Cavendish has hit the barrier, well, coming off the roundabout.
That's almost done for the entire Astana team as well. I think it's the last back, possibly. It's Cavendish once again who has hit the deck. Mark Cavendish in some discomfort on the ground there. And a big crash. Well, that's the end of Mark Cavendish's race, and once again, misfortune for the 2009 winner. What's happened here? Just a switch, and he's hit the central reservation there. His bike's gone, and he's absolutely catapulted over the handlebars and landed once again extremely heavily. Well, there we go. What can you say about his start to 2018? Meanwhile, the race is going away from him. Cavendish will play no part in the rest of Milan Sanremo for 2018.
Well, he hit that heavy. Fingers
really
crossed
heavily.
He is okay, but taking a lot of riders down with him, and this is the problem. Position, absolutely crucial.
Lutsenko is one of the Astana riders who've been delayed. Meanwhile, this is the right-hand turn onto the Poggio. Which team is going to take things up? It's Matej Moric who sets things up from Bahrain Merida. He leads what remains of the peloton, and it is a big peloton containing a lot of the favourites still onto the Poggio. So it's Matej Moric, and on his wheel, Then comes Sonny Colbrelli with a rider from, I think it's Matteo Trentin, just sat on the wheel from Mitchelton Scott as Marcus Burkhardt now riding for the world champion. Sets the pace. Burkhardt now attacking the Poggio and stretching it out with Moharic. Trentin looking really cool, the Italian from Mitchelton Scott. Then Colbrelli, then Nathan Haas, then Michael Matthews, and then that train of FDJ Groupama riders riding for Arnaud Demar a little bit further back down. Battling for position still from BMC. It looks like Greg Van Avermaet is still there, is it? Oh, that's not Van Avermaet actually. No sign of him, but Nathan Haas from Katusha Alpecin. Matthews looking good.
Burkhardt stretching things out. We know he's got the legs. He had that big solo breakaway only last week in Tirreno Adriatico. A lot of riders getting distance now at the back of the peloton. What's left of the peloton?
A clear tactic unfolding now from Border Hansgrohe. Burkhardt now makes sure that it makes it as difficult for everybody else in the race. And there comes a counter-reaction from BMC. I think it's Jean-Pierre Drucker, the Luxembourg rider who gets on his wheel. Yeah, Jean-Pierre Drucker, the fast finishing. This is a very dangerous move, potentially. They're the first two riders to attack. Marcus Burkhardt, the German national champion, and Jean-Pierre Drucker, the reigning individual time trial champion of Luxembourg, and a very fast finishing rider himself. Two powerful riders attacking at the foot of the Poggio.
Well, it's Bahrain Merida who were on the front of the peloton, and they haven't been able to go with this move. They're riding tempo. Oh, that's hurt for Burkhardt.
Great move for Greg Van Avermaet. If he's still in the pack there, Burkhardt pops. Looks like he's going backwards. He's done what he could, though, and he, in many ways, provoked this counter-attack by Jean-Pierre Drucker that is putting all the other teams under pressure to bring back the man from BMC. So Sagan, Greg Van Avermaet, all the other riders who are sitting in the wheels, still with a bit of support now, are watching Matej Moharic from Bahrain Merida trying to bring it back single-handedly with Matteo Trentin just sitting on his wheel, and they're all massed up alongside and behind those two riders. Jean-Pierre Drucker's only got a couple of seconds advantage as Trentin pulls off the front and just tries to sit on the wheels a little bit further down.
Well, Sagan very well placed in fifth wheel. Michael Matthews on his wheel.
It's Moharic. Then comes Nibali. Then comes Sonny Colbrelli. Matteo Trentin. That's the chase. Trying to get across to Jean-Pierre Drucker. Good attack this from Drucker. Just the kind of rider who you normally expect to see launching a long-range attack on the Poggio. I don't think it's going to be a race-winning move, but it has shaped the race to this point. He's getting dragged back by Moharic, metre by metre. It's a gradual climb. It's very steady. It's not particularly steep, but after the day they've had in the saddle, every pedal turn hurts, and the pace is furious on the Poggio.
Well, Team Sky moving up dimension data. They've lost Mark Cavendish, but it looks like Edvard Bosenhagen is still up there in contention.
Oscar Gatto was the Astana rider just dropping away. And that's the stage perfect. Greg Van Avermaet is still there from BMC. Got support of one rider as Chris Nylands goes on a very long-range attack from the Israel Cycling Academy. There he goes.
Well, that's a big move.
Nibali after him. Vincenzo Nibali looks like he's the next rider to fly out the road. Watch Nibali. He gets past Jean-Pierre Drucker, latches onto Nylands, and Nibali is on the offensive now, and the volume here alongside us goes up a little bit as Vincenzo Nibali goes on the attack.
This is dangerous, and the Katusha rider goes as well. Is that Nathan Haas trying to get himself across?
It's a big name move, isn't it? From a big name rider. Vincenzo Nibali is flying up the road.
Spilak, I think it is, going across.
Katusha Alpecin, and that's drawn out another attack as well as somebody goes after. I think it's a Mitchelton Scott rider goes after Spilak. And Nylands, what a great ride from him. Perfectly able to live with Vincenzo Nibali's attack at the moment. Two riders on the offensive, counter-attacking and trying to get across. Well, that's a Team Lotto NL Jumbo rider.
Battaglin.
Well, he's a fast finisher of all those riders. Enrico Battaglin, something of a sprinter, the Italian. But this is his local Klein. In fact, we saw, didn't we, when we did a bit of reconnaissance, his name emblazoned on the top of the Poggio. Yeah.
The descent, could very well be decisive. And Nibali, well, he's not waiting for the descent, he's going.
Well, he's shown us nothing so far in 2018, Vincenzo Nibali, of what he's capable of. He has ridden very conservatively in every race we've seen him in Tirreno Adriatico, in in Dubai as well. Vincenzo Nibali has kept his powder dry and shown us no cards whatsoever. But here he is, Vincenzo Nibali, on the attack, on the Poggio, and he is a nightmare for the rest of the race. And he's still got a kilometre or so of climbing to gain an advantage. And Michał Kwiatkowski now looks at Sagan, asks the question, are we letting this one go? And this time Sagan is not going to be the mug, and he is not going to bring the rest of the race back to Vincenzo Nibali if anyone can do that. Don't forget just how brilliant Vincenzo Nibali is as a descender. I wonder, is this a race-winning move? As Michael Matthews now, Peter Sagan and Daniel Oss and Michał Kwiatkowski, Greg Van Avermaet, Julian Alaphilippe by the looks of it, Matteo Trentin, Arnaud Demar, they all look at this problem that they face, and it's now Daniel Oss and Peter Sagan who are going on the march with Michael Matthews just on their wheels. So Oss is now clearly, he's got one job, and that's to peg back his compatriot Vincenzo Nibali over the top of the Poggio. What sort of an advantage will the Italian take on the rest of the race? Is it big enough to hold on to it on the descent and then onto the flat 2 kilometres to the finish line?
Well, it's pretty much every man for himself, other than Sagan, who seems to be the only team leader who has got a rider with him. Big left-hander coming up, and then we go into a 180-degree right-hand hairpin just down here. Of all the riders who can descend on their own, this is the man who can do it. This is a big, big call as they make that left-hander, and it's Daniel Oss.
Over to you, Daniel Oss. And look at all that sprinting talent he's dragging with him. They're all pretty much there, aren't they? Edvard Boasson-Hagen among them. A good 20, 30 riders still in contention, all against one man though. But it's Daniel Oss who's got to bring them back. And they took about 10 seconds, Vincenzo Nibali, over the top of the Poggio climb to defend. So it is right in the balance.
This is where we almost need a split screen with the one leader, Nibali. Here we go, and he's got the sun in his face. That is not going to help him at all.
Nor will it help the chase, though, for that matter, as Vincenzo Nibali does battle with this descent. Still got 3 kilometres of descending to go, and it's so technical and it's so dangerous. John Degenkolb's name is, and Bonifazio's name, all on the side of the road, but it's Vincenzo Nibali who has taken Milan Sanremo by the scruff of the neck. The Sprinters Classic being headed at the moment by one of the Grand Tour champions of the 21st century, Vincenzo Nibali. There's only one way for a rider like Nibali to win Milan Sanremo, and it's by attacking a long way out on the Poggio, and he has done it so far to brilliant effect.
He's absolutely ridden this superbly, hasn't he?
Kwiatkowski now taking the responsibility of closing the gap, with Sagan this time reversing the way it was last time, and he's sitting on the wheel of the pole, and it looks like Oss has disappeared from the front of the race, so all the other favourites now have to do this on their own to get across to Nibali.
Well, Nibali, the thing that's going in his favour is the fact that we've got so much descent where you just can't make any time up, even if you've got fresher legs down towards the back. As Nibali takes the last of his bottle, the last of his drink.
4 kilometres to go for Vincenzo Nibali, and that gap, if anything, Rob, it looks like it's grown. As rider, I think it's Matteo Trentin now, tries to get across and attacks on his own.
Well, Mitchelton Scott, and another crash on the descent.
It's going to stress the peloton out, isn't it? I mean, that's the one thing you can be sure of. I'm pretty sure it's Matteo Trentin, the Italian, has decided that chase is stalling and he's going to have to do it on his own. Michał Kwiatkowski then on his wheel. And then it looks
Matthews.
Yeah, then comes Michael Matthews, then Sonny Colbrelli, who's obviously not going to chase his teammate.
Sagan going ahead as well. It's got to be Matteo Trentin for Mitchelton Scott.
Yeah, it is Matteo Trentin. Nibali's still got 10 seconds to defend. If you take 10 seconds into the final kilometre, it'll be almost impossible to catch him.
It will be, but the thing is, there are very few riders with teammates, and it's that, it's that standoff. If you chase and you've got riders with you.
And from a team's perspective, Bahrain Merida have played an absolute blinder here. Sonny Colbrelli sits on Michael Matthews' wheel. Colbrelli, if anything, is just going to try and disrupt this chase, sit in the wheels, and if it comes back together again, Colbrelli will try and sprint to victory. So Bahrain Merida, of all the teams now, best placed with two real chances. But look at Trentin. He's opened up a gap on Peter Sagan, Michał Kwiatkowski, and the rest of them. 10 seconds between Trentin and Nibali. That's what they had over the top of the Poggio. So as you'd expect, on the descent, very difficult to make gains, particularly on a rider like Vincenzo Nibali.
It looks like there's an FDJ Groupama, FDJ rider further back, and it wasn't Demar. But Nibali, well, 9 seconds. This really is in the balance. 2.5k to go, just coming to the bottom of the descent.
right in the balance, Rob, too close to goal. It's Matteo Trentin who's the main threat to Vincenzo Nibali. As Vincenzo Nibali comes off the descent to the Poggio, now it flattens out, and now he knows exactly what he has to do. 2.2 kilometres of racing to hold off this chase. Matteo Trentin is the missing rider from your picture. He is somewhere in between the World Champions jersey, Peter Sagan, who is in third place on the road with that group of riders sitting on his wheel, but he has the front of the race. 1.9 to go, and Michał Kwiatkowski peels over, looks at Michael Matthews. They're all looking at each other now. Nathan Haas, Arnaud Demar, he is the rider in second place, and he can see Vincenzo Nibali now. He's only about 3-4 seconds ahead of Matteo Trentin is Vincenzo Nibali, and if Trentin could get on the wheel of Nibali 9 times out of 10, you would back Matteo Trentin to get past him, but it's not over yet.
As the riders are regrouping on the front of the peloton, Arnaud Demar, he has a teammate there, at least one, and it looks like Trentin, his legs are starting to drop off, but Nibali, he can't look back, he can't hold back. It's just him at 1.4k to go. Oh, it's now or never. This is going to be a huge battle now.
Trentin's been caught. Trentin has been caught as Groupama FDJ hit the front now, and Alexander Kristoff still with one rider to work with, and he's using the wheel of Michael Matthews. But no one has got to Vincenzo Nibali yet, and he's only got a kilometre or so in the lead of this race to hold on. I say only a kilometre. That's the situation on the road. There is Vincenzo Nibali. The shot widens out, and that is a substantial advantage that the Italian has over the chase. But look at the numbers that they have. And that is their big advantage over Vincenzo Nibali. You're shaking your head, Rob. You have your doubts.
Yeah, Julian Alaphilippe, is that moving up? Is Viviani there?
Caleb Ewan, is it? Caleb Ewan, I think, is still there from Mitchelton Scott. And if that's the case, that is absolutely brilliant. And 3 blue jerseys of Quickstep all over the front now. It looks like Julian Alaphilippe is there, and so too is Fabio Zamatini. But Vincenzo Nibali still hasn't been caught, and he's in the barriered section now, Vincenzo Nibali. He'll hear the roar of the Italian crowd. He's counting down the meters. 500 meters to go now for Vincenzo Nibali. Quick step, essentially, against the Italian. And it's Julian Alaphilippe who's doing all the work to drag Elia Viviani. Darren Impey's still there. Caleb Ewan sitting on his wheel. Can they get to the Italian? The meters are running out. I think Vincenzo Nibali's going to hold on. He can almost start to think about his celebration. Will he be caught now? A huge battle to get across to him. But Vincenzo Nibali is within sight of the finish line. Arnaud Demar, Caleb Ewan opens up his sprint. It's a sprint for second place though, as Vincenzo Nibali takes his first ever victory in Milan Sanremo, making it back-to-back monuments on Italian soil. The winner of Lombardia thrives here in Milan Sanremo, a trademark attack over the Poggio, and then holding off the rest of the race. Vincenzo Nibali wins another monument, and that arguably was his best ever. A brilliant win from Vincenzo Nibali. So Nibali quite untouchable at the end. Ewan's second place, a taste of victories to come perhaps, and Arnaud Demar's third, his best result since winning in 2016. Michał Kwiatkowski, last year's winner, was down in 11th, but in front of the Italian crowd, only one man mattered.
You looked over your shoulder, you saw the sprinters, but you knew you'd won. How good was that moment for you, Vincenzo?
I think this is a good moment for me, and I look at the TV. This race is fantastic. This victory for all team, and nothing. I don't have words.
One last thing, is that the best victory of your incredible career, Vincenzo?
No, non lo so.
I don't know. Vincenzo, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
A vintage edition won by one of the greatest riders of his generation, or indeed any other. Vincenzo Nibali races to a famous victory in La Primavera.